All right, Utes fans, what is up? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest, and this has been a super exciting day for Utah football. So, Cam Rising announces that he's coming back. Brant Kuithe announces that he is coming back. Devon Vele announces that he is coming back. And finally, Thomas Yassmin announces that he is coming back. These were four. I mean, Thomas Yassmin not as critical as the other three, but those three are three of the star players of this youth offense this past year. And Thomas Yassmin had times where he really shined at times. And this is going to be a big deal for the Utes to be getting these four guys back. Let's go ahead and dive in, take a look at each guy, and see what it means for each one to be coming back. And let's start with Thomas Yassmin. Now, the guy is from Sydney, Australia. He was a rugby player turned football player, has a ton of raw athletic ability, still some football skills that need to be nurtured, but overall, a very good player. I mean, take a look at the guy. He had a tough last game, right? Tough last game, but take a look here. 13 receptions for 301 yards and 6 touchdowns. Take a look at that 6 touchdowns. It's a lot of the touchdowns that Utah got through the air with a long of 72 yards. He had a couple of big plays this year, guys. Definitely a guy that can boom if you let him loose. He can really make some big plays, and I would even follow up with that. I would really like to see the coaching staff this year, especially with him coming back for another year, really start scheming plays that highlight his abilities. He is great at catching passes short and breaking them upfield. He's nasty with the ball in his hands. He is athletic, he is fast, and he can take off. Now, take a look at this season last year. The one huge play against Arizona State. A good showing against Arizona, 2 receptions, 42 yards, and a huge game against Southern Cal, 2 receptions, 81 yards. The guy can pop off at any moment. That's what he's all about. I think he also has a play or two in here. I'm trying to remember which game it was that got taken back because of a fumble. But he's had some big plays. If you guys are watching Utah football, you can see the athleticism in Thomas Yassmin. You can see what he's capable of if he's given the opportunity. So a guy with a ton of room to still grow. Hopefully this next offseason will give him an opportunity to fine tune some of those skills. He's still, just a little rough around the edges, a couple drops against Penn State. But hopefully he can fine tune some of that to be ready for this next year to be a real impact player. All right, and if you guys are appreciating the video, please do make sure you guys drop the video a like. It goes a long way in helping get this video out to more Utes fans. Also, comment down below which player are you most excited about to be returning to Utah. I know I'm excited about all of them, but I'd love to hear who you guys think is the biggest impact player. And then number one thing, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? If you guys love Utah Utes football, that's what we talk about in the channel all year round. 365 days a year. We're always talking about Utah football. No basketball, no baseball, just Utah football. So make sure you guys subscribe. And let's go ahead and get back to the video. Guys, and the next guy that decided to come back to Utah as of today was a guy that I was expecting to come back to Utah, but having all of these guys come back on the same day feels really impactful. Like Devon Bailey is the guy I'm talking about. He's the guy on the screen, wide receiver, real long, tall wide receiver, 6'5", 205, big physical receiver. And with that, him coming back along with Cam coming back is even that more impactful. You take a look at Devaughn. He's been our number one receiver for the past 2 years, basically. I mean, I guess we had Covey, but he was more of a slot where Devon Bailey lines up on the outside and wins matchups. Now, he had his career year last year for 695 receiving yards. So a big, big year. He was also returning some punts for Utah, and he had 5 receiving touchdowns. I'm sure that 5 receiving touchdowns is a number that he'd like to get up, but overall, a really good season, right? You take a look, he had 100 catches for 5 yards against Penn State. That's a heck of a game against a team with very good corners. I've heard some criticism of Devon Bailey from that game that I don't think is very fair. And you take a look at this, guys, outside of maybe 3 games, Devon had a killer season. I mean, a couple of these games go a little better, and he's really breathing down the neck of 1,000 yards last year. You take a look here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games last year over 50 yards. So really good there. Definitely a guy I'm excited to have back. Devaughn, is a big time player and continues to just get better each season. And it's very clear to see. Awesome to see him here. And whoever we get as a wide receiver coach might be able to provide some insight and some development that Coach Bump wasn't able to, and help Devaughn take that next step. So I'm really excited to see that. All right, guys. And one of the big time weapons for Utah last year that unfortunately got injured at the beginning of the season, the first couple of games there, was Brant Kuithe. He was looking ready to light the world on fire. It's wild how that season went on to have Dalton Kincaid just have an incredible year, but that should not overshadow the awesome year that Brant Kuithe had. We take a look here, guys. Brent Kuithe receiving stats for 2022, 19 receptions, 206 yards. It says games played is 4, but the truth is he didn't actually play that many games. He only played like 3 and 1/4 basically. So we take a look at that, right? 2022 receiving yards. Where is it? Okay, word receiving. Okay, so here we go. We take a look. 206 yards in 3 games and a quarter with 3 touchdowns. Now, if my calculations are right, if you take what he would have done over the course of a whole season, you'd be looking more at about 750 to 800 yards. And I mean, he would be tracking for, 12 touchdowns or so. So, just so you guys know, Brant Kuithe is one of the premier college football tight ends. When him and Dalton Kincaid were in the same games, there were quite a few games where, like, Brant Kuithe was the star. Until Brant Kuithe went down, Dalton Kincaid was not the star. Obviously, we all knew Dalton Kincaid was very good, but he wasn't the guy at tight end until Brant Kuithe went down. So, do not be surprised if we see Brent Kuithe have a huge year this year. I mean, take a look there. The year before in 2021, 611 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was tracking to surpass it by a mile. So definitely a beast in Brent Kuithe, and the guy I'm second most excited about to have back this season. Okay, and here is the big one, Cam Rising. Cam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Cam Rising is coming back this year, guys. Number 7. This is a big one, guys. As we headed into this offseason, I was a little worried. I mean, it's not that we didn't have a really good team. I feel like we had a lot of good pieces coming back, but Cam was so vital to this team's success. I mean, you saw what this offense looked like during the Rose Bowl when he went down and Bryson Barnes went in. It's not that Bryson Barnes sucks or anything. It's just Cam is a special player. I think a lot of people don't appreciate what we have in Cam, and the fact that we get it for another year is a huge deal that we should all be excited about. Let's take a look at how Cam has performed over these past 2 years. So we take a look this last season, quite a year. Let's pull it up here. So first off, this year he had 465 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. Last year, 499 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. So obviously a big time dual threat guy. But where he took a big leap this year was in his throwing game. We take a look in 2021, Cam had 2,493 yards. To be fair, he didn't start for a few games, but still he took a big leap this year, 3,034 yards. 26 touchdowns. Huge, huge year for Cam. 8 picks. You'd like to see that a little lower, but the truth is, when you look at that number, I don't think it's fair to judge Cam off that. I mean, a lot of that came in a couple games. We take a look here, guys, at the touchdowns and interceptions. So 3 of those interceptions came in that Oregon game. 2 of those were on batted balls. And what I really love about Cam coming back, guys, is he's such a gamer, and he had a couple bad games last year, and not even like terrible games. Oregon was pretty rough, but outside of that, it was a couple just not glamorous games that have kind of painted a negative picture in some Utes fans' mind of Cam. But like I said before, do not underestimate how valuable it is to have a guy like Cam. There's a reason we were all a little nervous, right? The fact that Cam might be leaving. Him being here means that the expectations are just as high as they were at the beginning of this year, if not higher. I mean, think about what this offense is about to look like, guys. It is college football playoff or bust. This is super exciting. I'm super excited to have Cam back. One of the best players in college football. Obviously, when I say college football playoff or bust, it doesn't mean that the season sucks if we don't go to the college football playoff, right? But it means that's the expectation. I really believe with all these guys coming back, all this firepower, this is one of the best teams in college football, guys. We got a stacked squad, and I would not be shocked whatsoever if we saw a bunch of transfer announcements in the coming days of players wanting to come play for Utah because of everything we've got coming back. I mean, this is an offense that is so powerful, so high powered. Who doesn't want to be a part of it? So, really exciting to have Cam back. And on that note, guys, please make sure you like the video. It'll help get this out to more Utes fans. Also, comment down below. Do you guys agree with everything I'm saying? Anything else I'm missing here? And let me know who you're most excited to have back here. And number one, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out this Utah football content all off season. And the more you guys like and comment on the videos, the more videos I'll make for you guys. Outside of that, I'm out. Go Utes.